Jacob deGrom is one of the great examples of a pitcher who clearly had a stretch as one of the, if not the best pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. When we would face Jacob deGrom, it was an L. We would plan ahead and look to see what the Mets rotation was because we wanted no part of deGrom ever. If we could manufacture any sort of schedule change to not face him in his prime, if you had to ask me the most dominant pitcher who I saw pitch against our teams over those 18 years, Jacob deGrom is in the conversation. Jacob deGrom is going to be in the top 5. Jacob deGrom is going to be talked about with Randy Johnson, with Pedro Martinez. However, Jacob deGrom has had injury issues that make his career seem closer to Tim Lincecum than to Nolan Ryan. Jacob deGrom, who is now being protected by the Texas Rangers and their manager, Bruce Bochy, an old school Hall of Fame manager, Bruce Bochy, who's not all that interested in hearing what the GM has to say or what the front office has to say because he's been there, done it, he's won it again. But yesterday, he did something that, as team president, you cannot allow him to do. He went public and said what the plan is with Jacob deGrom this season. And he literally said the words you're not allowed to say. If we have to skip a start or put him on the injured list to keep him fresh, we'll do that. It appears that Bruce Bochy has forgotten what happened to Billy Epler and the New York Mets when Billy Epler was using the injury list as his own personal sandbox of hiding players and doing roster manipulation in a way that would bring a tear to my eye as a reminder of how you can manipulate service time, except you get service time on the injured list, but how you can manipulate roster size, roster management. And it was made very clear by Major League Baseball that that is not allowed. It was made an example when they suspended Billy Epler for 1 year, and he just resurfaced, and he's back working, I believe, inside the Brewers organization with our old friend Matt Arnold. While it is true that Jacob deGrom has had 2 Tommy John surgeries, the latest being in 2023, while it is true that Jacob deGrom is going to have to learn how to Maddox if he's going to be successful at this stage of his career, and while it is true that Jacob deGrom has acknowledged that when he talked about his own velocity, and he said that he's going to pick his spots to show the velocity, and that sitting around 92, 94 is likely going to be the deGrom of now. And the reason why Greg Maddux is a Hall of Famer and such a unicorn is that Greg Maddux was a pitcher with pinpoint command. And no matter what hitter you speak to, from Barry Bonds to David Samson, the worst hitter you could ever find, one thing that is in common is a hitter will tell you that command will beat me way more than velocity. Command is the ability to hit your spot. It's the ability to change planes. It's the ability to keep the hitter uncomfortable within the batter's box. Not many pitchers can make the transformation. What happens more often than not is when pitchers who do sit at 96 to 98 to 99 to 100, when they lose the velocity, they don't know really how to pitch, and they end up out of the league. Basically, Jacob deGrom is in the middle of a 5-year, $185 million contract where he is becoming a different pitcher. And that pitcher, we have no idea whether that will be effective, impactful, in any way helpful to the Texas Rangers. What we do know about Jacob deGrom is that so far with the Texas Rangers, wait for it, he's pitched 41 innings in 2 years since he got that insane 5-year, $185 million deal that people said, Stephen Cohn, how could you not have matched that? How could you lose Jacob deGrom to the Texas Rangers? And the statement made behind closed doors was, are you kidding me? How irresponsible do you have to be to sign a player to that contract with the history that Jacob deGrom has? 41 innings over 2 years. He's embracing it, though. He said, I can pitch at that velocity, meaning around 96. It's less stress on your body. He said, you get out there and you're throwing pitches at 100, and that's a lot of stress. So he said, it's something I'm going to look into. Using it when I need it, backing off, and just trusting that I can locate the ball. I don't love hearing that out of a player. I love seeing it. I understand the strategic change that's taking place, but I also understand that what the Rangers are doing and what Bochy told you they're going to do is they recognize the fact that even if he does what he says he wants to do, that the level of protection he needs is even more than that. So when you're mapping out your season, which we do every offseason, and then we keep doing it through spring training, and then we keep doing it through the first third of the season, we are mapping out innings. We've got to cover innings with starting pitchers. What do you think the Rangers are doing with Jacob deGrom? Where do you think they have him slotted? It is true that in the old days, although to me, the old days ought to be now, we're getting 200 innings pitched out of a workhorse starter should be an expectation, not a dream, not a fantasy.